There is, of course, a lot of conversation, a lot of fallout, a lot of excuses, a lot of blame going on after the first round of results for WNBA All-Star voting has come out to find Caitlin Clark fifth, fifth in the voting, 55,000 votes behind Asia Wilson's 308,000 at the top. And we got to get into a few of the things because there's also some important numbers to discuss with regard to the WNBA as a whole, which is going to be really interesting considering the new CBA and the fact that the media rights deal can change completely in 2028, depending on how things are going for the WNBA. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all of your support helping the channel grow. Please do me a quick favor if you are enjoying the content. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're still subscribed if you've done it already, because we all know what YouTube likes to do there. Comment down below, of course. Now, this is a topic that I'm sure is going to be ongoing, and it'll be interesting to see how the numbers look the second time around, because maybe you might have some very, very motivated Caitlin Clark fans right now be like, wow, this is not good. This is a shock. This is a surprise. And you're gonna have people be like, I'm gonna create a whole bunch of accounts for the WNBA and I'm going to vote a lot for Caitlin Clark. Now, I want to share some interesting numbers. But first, one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting. Let me know what you decide to do and what you've been doing, because I've seen now Caitlin Clark fans putting out, hey, no one is voting for Caitlin Clark, even though she deserves it, other than Caitlin Clark fans. But, but we are, sorry, I lost my place. I have some numbers I want to share, but we are voting for other players that we think deserve to go. And that, and that's the reason they're given. That's why the numbers look this way. I think that's what we've done the last 2 years as well. And Caitlin Clark won both times. But anyway, so people were saying, hey, only vote for Caitlin Clark, because yes, you can actually only vote for Caitlin Clark. And then you've got another group of Caitlin Clark fans saying, oh my God, don't only vote for Caitlin Clark, because I'm sure the WNBA has some type of software and they're just throwing those out. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the best advice I can give, and the way I've always handled all-star voting when it's the fans, no matter the sport, is I vote for those who I think should actually be there. I know. Especially with what we're talking about. That seems kind of bizarre, a little old school maybe, but that is how I do my voting. So anyway, something to think about. Which way are you going to go? But oh, before I get to the numbers, the other thing that's interesting, because of course we knew this was coming, right? Is now you have the Fever Simps and Slurp FC, the whole we love the Fever, we're never going to criticize them, they can do no wrong. Stephanie White is God, and attacking us constantly how we don't know what we're talking about and we're always wrong. They of course are blaming people like moi, people like myself, people like Rhodes and Venom and Rudy and Ben. This is because of us. We did this by daring to tell you the truth, by daring to have a channel where we're going to talk basketball and be truthful about what we see, be truthful in our analysis, be truthful in our criticism, and about what we think issues are. And of course, as you know, we always celebrate and give praise when things are going well. That is sort of how it's supposed to work. But apparently, because we are not just feeding you BS and being absolutely thrilled with every single thing that's happening, that's why people aren't voting for Caitlin Clark for the All-Star team. We did it. Jason Whitlock, who's been on a tear lately with his insane criticism of Caitlin Clark, is daring to blame us, who have been critical of Stephanie White's decisions as a coach and so forth. He's blaming us for Caitlin Clark not getting All-Star votes. The guy who tweeted out the other day, remember the Griner hit on Caitlin Clark, the one I did a video on? He dared to tweet out that she flopped on that play and that she is unwatchable. Well, I think maybe telling people Caitlin Clark is unwatchable and flopped on a play when someone tried to end her career, maybe that's what's influencing people to say, we're not going to watch and we're not going to vote for the All-Star team. I'm just thinking, Jason, that might be part of the problem. You do have a rather large platform. You know what I'm saying, big guy? That could be the issue. But anyway, I want to get into some of these numbers. Check this out. First place in 2026, Asia Wilson, 308,000 votes. Now, 2025, when it was Caitlin Clark, 515,000 votes. Players with at least 200,000 votes in 2026, 7. In 2025, there were 11 of them. Players with 100,000 or more votes in 2026, there were 14. In 2025, there were 19. Now, if we go first and second, right? Last year, Caitlin had her 515,000 plus almost 516,000, 515,993. Nafisa Collier was number 2 with 484,758. In 2026, Asia was first with only 308,249, and Paige was second with 298,027. That is a huge decline at the top there. Interesting, of course, a lot of people are saying that the league wants Asia and Paige to be the captains for this team. Now, here's the total. I have that broken down for you. The first week total, top 40 players in 2025, there were 6.41 million votes. This year, 2026, only 4.35 million votes. Definitely a big decrease in All-Star game voting, which does what? It says you there's a decrease in interest in the league total. And again, I'll bring this up another time because it's important. We have seen very, very few, so I would say selective ratings numbers, right? And they're all for big ratings numbers, big games that have been significant as, one of the most watched here, one of the most watched there, one of the most watched on this day or this network. But we've seen very, very few numbers. Remember in 2024, especially when we saw all of them, right? We kept hearing Ion set another record. Ion set another record. Ion's had, 9 games with a million plus more viewers, and NBA TV has set another record, and everyone's record here, record there, record for everyone. You get a record, you get a record, everyone gets a record. Not this year. Now, here is the really interesting thing that I want to leave you with in talking about this. And I said this again, I said this earlier, so maybe it's my fault. I planted the seed. I said this a while back. I said, hey, if we're not careful with how Caitlin Clark is playing because of being forced into Stephanie White's system, and I said this because she went on that tear, right? Player of the game, player of the week last week. Okay, and her numbers weren't terrible, but I said the combination of her numbers being down a little bit because at one point before she went on this tear, all her numbers were worse than her rookie year because she started off hot with the assists, but then they declined as well. And I said, hey, between that and a lot of people losing interest and not wanting to watch anymore because of Stephanie White, they're not going to vote in the All-Star game. I said Caitlin Clark could very easily not make the All-Star team because I was letting people know the fan voting, first of all, is what? I think 50, maybe 40, or I forget now. They always change these things, but I think 50% of the vote, right? You've got the players and coaches also voting. And if you remember, was it last year? I think it was last year, right? Yeah, last year. Oh, media. That's right. You had Caitlin Clark won in voting. Media actually did rank her third. This is guards only. Player rank for Caitlin Clark last year, or maybe it was 2024. No, I think it was last year. But the players only ranked her 9. Keep that in mind. So if she finishes around 5 or 6 or whatever, I don't know that she'll make the All-Star team. If she does, I guess it would be as a reserve, right? She's not going to be a starter because no one else is going to be honest about where Caitlin Clark has fallen. Because right now, after what she's had, she is a top MVP candidate, right? Like it would be embarrassing as hell for the WNBA if Caitlin Clark is not a starter in the All-Star game based on her performance alone. But it could very easily happen because we know that they're not fair in any way, shape, or form when it comes to how they handle Caitlin Clark. They are not going to be honest and objective with where they rank her among the rest of the guards in the WNBA. So anyway, it's getting kind of wild. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more. But let me know, have you been voting? Have you been voting for an entire 10 players? Are you voting for who you think are the best? Are you throwing in some extra fever players in there? Are you only voting for Caitlin Clark? And are you now going to change your approach? Let me know in the comments below. As always, appreciate you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. I will talk to you later.